VALORANT has become the new home of many esports athletes in the last year. Often they come from games where they never reach their full potential. And no newcomer is blazing a brighter trail than the former Counter-Strike Misfit, ShahZaM. ShahZaM has been around for a long time, first rising to prominence in 2014 at the John Wick Invitational. ShahZaM had just turned 21 and he was able to celebrate by carrying Denial Esports to victory. Not long after the win, ShahZaM was offered a spot on Cloud9's new CSGO roster. It was his big break, but would turn out to be the first of many short-lived stints on top teams. 4 short months after he had joined his first major org, he was dropped.
Nihilum, they knocked Cloud9 out of the ESEA LAN tournament.
They knocked the top-seeded North American team out of this North American tournament.
But it wasn't just the team's performances that stunted his early growth. The iBuyPower vs NetCodeGuides.com match-fixing scandal remains one of the most infamous scars on the CS legacy.
Confused what we're seeing here from iBuyPower.
And not even rust, maybe it's just jet lag. I don't know, but yeah, they are not performing how they should be.
When a team of the game's best and brightest threw a game they were favoured in to try and make a quick buck, it rocked the scene to its core. ShahZaM later revealed he knew about the plan to fix the result, and changed his own bet after learning of the intent to throw the game. He too found himself in the crosshairs of the chaos, and it played a contributing factor in his quick exit from Cloud9. But ShahZaM would not be deterred, and he jumped straight back into competitive play with Tempo Storm. But his next major achievement wouldn't come until he rejoined several former teammates from his Denial days on the Canadian org Conquest later that year.
Now it's just ShahZaM left. He made it here in time. 18 seconds left. They have to plant that thing, and ShahZaM somehow takes a double kill there. That was really nice.
Reuniting with his old buddies flipped a switch for ShahZaM, and they were able to blast through the open qualifiers of the E-League road to Vegas.
Needs to step up to deliver the result here. 1 versus 2, just barely gets Uber in time and taps down Lucky, and it's Vegas, baby, for Conquest.
The squad's performance attracted the attention of Optic Gaming, who were looking to make an entrance to Counter-Strike.
Coming into 2016, we were looking for a new home to represent in CSGO. And
you found one.
Now under the Optic banner, they made an immediate splash, finishing the main event in spectacular fashion and bringing home a first-place finish. Optic ran with that success through the first half of 2016, with ShahZaM leading the way. It culminated with the Green Wall taking bronze in the 3rd season of the North American ESL Pro League. It was a decent start for Optic, but the org was looking for even better results. Once again, ShahZaM found himself switching squads, this time to the young organisation of Echo Fox. But they never hit the ground running, only winning small-scale events, with many performances leaving a lot to be desired. The Wandering Fragger's next home was on TSM, but his stint there was the shortest of his career. His teammate Sean Gares was involved in an open letter speaking out against the Professional Esports Association. TSM's founder said the letter harmed the org's brand, and they parted ways shortly after. The rest of the team, including ShahZaM, opted to follow their former teammate and leave TSM behind. ShahZaM would once again find himself donning a new jersey, and finally, it was somewhere he could settle in for a while. In 2017, he joined Misfits with the rest of the displaced TSM comrades, and for the first time in his career, he would spend a full year with the same org. While with Misfits, ShahZaM would help lead the team to a 2nd place finish in the America Minors Championship and to a semi-finals appearance in the 6th season of the ESL Pro League. Still, as with many teams before, ShahZaM would depart Misfits, leaving the team the day after his 1-year anniversary. He would return to his former team of Optic, where he would spend a few months before moving on to Complexity, where he would spend the rest of his Counter-Strike career. While there, ShahZaM would win an America's Minor Championship and made decent runs at a number of other big tournaments. But those few successes were met with many more failures, and ShahZaM was benched from the Complexity squad after the CEO promised improvements. Not long after the benching, ShahZaM announced his free agency along with his exit from Complexity. But this time, ShahZaM wasn't due for more of his usual team hopping. There was a new frontier on the horizon for one of Counter-Strike's biggest misfits, Riot's new tactical shooter, VALORANT. ShahZaM was quickly picked up by Sentinels, along with his former teammate Sick, and his years of experience and cool temper made the veteran CS player an obvious choice for the role of in-game leader. And perhaps a change of scenery is what ShahZaM has needed all this time, as his new VALORANT team quickly became one of the hottest commodities in the North American scene. With high-caliber fraggers and ShahZaM's calm and collected attitude pointing them in the right direction, Sentinels quickly became the team to beat.
ShahZaM still has that Blade Storm, and Zombs might potentially go unchecked here. ShahZaM looking to get one, gets a second, doesn't. Oh, ShahZaM! Oh my gosh!
Sentinels could credit their success to ShahZaM, who had a knack of making the right call at the right time and put his team's plans into action flawlessly. He not only kept his team sharp and focused, but also had the capacity to carry as well. He is one of the few IGLs in the world who opts to play Jett, popping heads with her just like he did in CS.
How many are going to be on that peak? One pulls the op, and that means two more are going to come around. Oh, it's the collect coming in for ShahZaM. He's feeling it. He's smoked out. But he's going to hit a third one without even seeing him. Calypso answers back, and now it's all up to him to do this. 3 members, and that may just take him out. He gets blown right up.
Sentinels took Valorant's opening few months by storm, placing first in several tournaments throughout the Ignition series. They were set to make a huge splash at the first major tournament, First Strike. But days before Sentinels were to play, tragedy struck the Khan family.
My dad was definitely my biggest role model, but it's been the most tough on my mom. We just made sure to be there for her and to let her know, like, you know, me and my brother are always going to take care of her.
Despite the awful passing of his father, ShahZaM opted to return to his team so they could take their shot at First Strike. And while he made a colossal effort to carry Sentinels through, they fell in the semi-finals to the eventual First Strike champions, 100 Thieves.
Sentinels trying to regain composure in the site. It's going to be 100 Thieves taking the series and meeting TSM in the First Strike Grand Final.
Despite the loss, ShahZaM showed everyone in Valorant the same competitive drive that kept him trying in CS for all those years, and he gained the respect of fans and fellow players around the world. The Valorant Champions Tour was just around the corner, and Sentinels needed ShahZaM to lead them back to the pinnacle of North America. They started off well, taking first place in the inaugural Challengers event, and second in Challengers 2 just a few weeks later.
To prevent that ult from being a factor. The ball comes through, but it's not exactly perfect. They're able to sneak back behind it. The ult is utilized by Chemicals, but the knives not connecting. It's ShahZaM's op that greets him. Quick shots coming out from ShahZaM yet again, and a flick back onto the last. That's a 4K for ShahZaM.
These performances opened the door for their appearance at Masters 1, an all-out brawl for the first major title on the VCT calendar. But Sentinels already had a hard road ahead of them, facing an impressive FaZe clan that was just realizing their full potential with the power of Smeeg. That challenge was hard enough, but then difficult circumstances once again struck the Sentinels lineup. With Sinatra out, Sentinels were in desperate need of another fragger. They were able to secure a loan deal for TenZ, but they didn't have long to practice together. They needed to find out where he would fit into the team and teach him their strategies in just a few days. Luckily, they had just the man for the job.
We played 2 scrims yesterday, and that's the only time we scrimmed. We didn't scrim today. We didn't do a warm-up scrim. We didn't scrim before the tournament started. We literally scrimmed like the daybreak, just 2 scrims at all. And he was able to explain most stuff that they would do and stuff within like an hour and kind of slot me into the role.
After years spent roster swapping and playing with a variety of different players, ShahZaM was able to get TenZ up to speed in no time, and Sentinels came into Masters in dominant form. Even the surging FaZe clan were unable to hold up against the strength of this squad, buckling in the grand final without picking up a single map. Sentinels were the clear-cut best team in North America, and it wasn't even close. But due to the nature of the open bracket format of VCT, Sentinels can always be just one defeat away from disaster. But with a tried and tested competitor like ShahZaM leading the squad, they know they will always be able to bounce back from adversity.